Hey y'all, it's Lena with What's Poppin' USA, Small Business Home Shopping Network. And today on Glass Table Talks, we are speaking with a sensei, Sensei Israel Lopez, located up in Palmer, Massachusetts. He has his own dojo, and I am so excited for y'all to meet him. Maybe I can learn some moves or so, all that kind of stuff. Let's talk to Israel up there in Mass. So how are you doing, Israel? First of all,
I mean, wow, she broke out the government name right away. I'm like,
I don't know you by any other name. All I know you by is Israel. Israel, Israel, Israel this, Israel that. You know, with all of this violence, that is kind of like around us. And as as a small woman, I'm 5'2".
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm as small as your sister, you know what I mean? And we're about the same size now because we've both dwindled down and got rid of our excess baby weight after they turned like 20 something. We finally got rid of our excess baby weight. And so how or what kind of tips, what type of
Actually, shoot. Well, all right.
can you give us, because we do live in dangerous times? You know what I mean?
And I don't know how far away you live from Paris. Is it Paris, Georgia? So Dr. Odette Russell, her episode actually drops tomorrow. Sidagu, Dr. Odette Russell. She's out in the neck of the woods, and she specializes in women's self-protection, self-defense.
Really?
Yes, she's a Marshall Mays alumnus from Modern Combative Season 1. So to jump, I think what I hear you saying is, how can I, small and fragile as I am, take my self-protection?
I mean, I'm a firecracker, and I got you from the knees down. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
I got you from the ankles down, dude. You mine. You all mine.
So here's the first thing first. So, like I was saying when we were off the air, I'm going to say it again. Living your life. So self-protection is living your life in such a way where violence misses you.
Right.
Now, that is something that most people don't realize, that right now, you don't live your life that way. Most people don't. When you go to the movie theater, where do you sit? Do you sit in the middle, or do you sit way up top in the backward so there's no one behind you?
Okay, so I will say that having been in the military, I'm very hyper aware. I do not like my back to people. I don't like my back to the door, to the window. I like to sit where I can see what's going on. I scope out.
When you pull in your driveway, do you back in or do you pull in? Especially when you're visiting people.
That's true. That's true. But I will tell you, when I get out the car, I got my keys, like, you know what I mean? Like ready to like I really do try to be.
It's trying to. So, okay. So you got half of that. So it's
right. So back in.
Yeah,
so you're saying back in.
Backing in. Yeah, that was easier. Like, but with modern day cars, if you got a backup cam and you're good with motor skills because you've been playing games your whole life, you probably could maneuver just fine. I can.
Right.
Other people cannot. Right. But with that being said, so that's the first thing, living your life in such a way where violence misses you. And I was just giving you some basic examples. Getting out your car, paying attention, look up, not down. Most folks don't look up. They almost always look at eye level or down. Kids are amazing teachers with this kind of thing, because kids are almost always looking up. Their whole lives, right? They look up. So always be paying attention, always be hyper aware of what's around you.
Look in the back seat.
When you walk to your car, yes, you should be eyeing it out. Now, some people say, oh, that sounds like you're being paranoid. These are best practices to live your life, air quotations, in such a way where violence will miss you. Okay, doesn't mean that violence doesn't happen. It's like being at the nightclub. You at the club, you having a good time. You know they wild out after 12.
Right.
Out of there
at 12:15, you need to be carrying your ass to that front door.
You look at security, security. If it's some young butt and he looks like he ain't even with it because he's missing everything. He trying to be
Watch.
checking out the
Yeah.
ladies. That might not be the club for you.
Correct.
You know what I'm
Correct.
saying?
No, you're right. You're right.
I'm
You're
like,
right.
so just
Common
keep,
sense
keep
stuff,
those things in
though.
mind. Yeah, you see, and we all know those. We all grew up around enough cats to know the cats that like to wild out. You show up to a club, you show up to a bar, wherever, and you look at the way people are dressed. I mean, that's going to tell you where you're
Ooh,
at.
yeah.
Count the
Yeah.
faces. Look, I hate saying it sometimes, but if they're upper class African Americans like ourselves, then you all right. Or
Right.
when I say upper class, I'm talking about OGs,
Right. Right.
just
Right.
chilling, whatever, and they dress to the nines because you're less likely to want to get into something. Not saying the brother ain't gonna
Correct.
touch
No,
you,
correct though. You don't
but
want
you're
somebody
less
stepping
likely
on
to
your
want to wild out. Yeah.
shoes and
But when
messing up
you
your
walk in, the
fit.
dude's got his clothes off, you know what I'm saying? He coming, he looking all thugged out, you
He don't
already know.
mind
Yeah,
getting
he
into
don't
a
mind
scuffle.
getting it in. Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
So he's more likely to throw hands at you and act a fool. So you already know. So there are plenty of ways to live your life that way. Now, I always call it the self-defense, or sometimes I would say because it's more of an intervention. Now, for whatever
Mm,
reason, violence has found you because it does
right.
happen. Does
Right.
happen. There was a great meme that I recently put, or a post that I recently put on my Facebook page. It was
Right.
from somebody else that talks about this, and they were making the metaphor about martial arts, but it starts off with swimming, and I'll give you this metaphor real quick. I know I'm segueing. So we're talking
Mhm.
about sports, right? With kids, right? You take your
Right.
kid and you put him in basketball, baseball, whatever. You get your kid into sports,
Right.
But this parent made their kid take swimming,
Right.
made him, and he said because in life, no matter who you are, you're going to end up in a body of water at some point. And we already know you can fail at playing basketball, you can fail at playing baseball, but if you fail when you're swimming in water, what happens? You
That's it.
drown.
That's your
You're
ass.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You're
Folks,
dead.
man. Right.
So what he was saying is this is a necessary tool for life. You need to know this. And so he brings it back to martial arts and the study of martial arts. And this is something I advocate about all the time. A
Right.
child is more likely to see violence. Even when they try to miss it, it still finds them in their lives, and they should be armed with something. Something is better than nothing. So teach your child self-defense. Now, check this out. Women are more likely to see violence later in life than boys, men. So here's the thing,
Really?
guy, I can live look, outside of getting into a ring, if I didn't put myself, if I wasn't working at the nightclub back in the day, if I hadn't been in
Right.
law enforcement, if I hadn't been wilding out, I could have lived my whole life. I'm a big dude. First off, I'm a big
Missing.
man.
Yeah, you not small. He looks small on camera, y'all, but he's a big dude. He ain't
Yeah,
little.
well, yeah, you watch the show. I'm not the size of a normal
He ain't
human.
little. He ain't little.
Even though Gabriel Gonzaga really dwarfs me, if you ever watched that episode, it was kind of crazy. I was like, that's a big guy.
Because
But
you're big, so to have somebody.
yeah, he's just a monster. I'm like, he's the guy I have nightmares about.
Welcome to my world. Now you know what I feel like all
No,
the time.
100%. So being a big guy, well built, I know how to handle myself. I'm not
Right.
saying I'm the greatest thing since Can Ham, but I just might be.
But
Who knows?
you're
But
less likely to be fucked with.
well, yeah, exactly. So I can live my life and never get into a physical
Right.
altercation. I can
Right.
walk away from a situation. Where as a female, you're more likely to be assaulted by the person you sleeping next to every night than anything else. That's the truth. I mean,
Right.
we made it and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
Like
Right.
one
You're
of the
right
things,
though. You're right though.
yeah. And with that being said, so you're more likely to see violence in your life, which is more the reason you should know something. Because
Something.
again, something is better than nothing.
Right.
Um, so now to answer you, going back to what you were asking me, what can you do? I would tell you get your butt up into a woman's self-defense, self-protection program ASAP. I would tell that every woman, every person should know have basic self-protect, basic self-defense. You should know some basic stuff.
Okay.
Risk release from being grabbed because people say, well, people just don't grab you.
Go from the inside, right?
Oh, yeah, well, there's just a lot of things that you
The
can
weakest
do.
part.
And almost every school worth their salt, not so much as some of these commercial places, but every school
Right.
is worth their salt, or every martial artist that knows how to really defend themselves, you're going to find the same self-defense. Yeah,
Right. The
take
same
on it. Kung Fu does
tactics.
it a little different. Taekwondo
But
does it a little different, but the same thing is happening. No matter
right.
what's coming at you, you move.
Right.
You move, you get it, you stay out, you stay out of that strike zone, and then you
Right.
want to put your, and all this. So there's a bunch of things that you can learn right away. And let's say, okay, well, Sensei, well, Lopez, I'm not physically able. I don't have time
That's
to
right.
be
Right.
doing all that punchy kicky and all this other stuff. There are a lot of products on the market.
I was going to ask you, do you
That
suggest,
there's a friend of mine in California. They got the Tiger Lady. They have oh man,
is
damsel
it
in
a,
distress.
is it like
Damsel
a
in distress.
mace?
Yeah, no, but so there's a product, damsels in distress. So all right, so check it out.
Okay.
So I'm in California and I'm visiting her, and
Along your travels.
yeah, and I say, hey, I got to come see you because she was studying with me up in my neck of the woods. Now she's living in California,
Oh,
and I love California. I just
oh,
do.
me too.
I can't afford to live there, but I love being
Me
there.
neither, but I
Um,
vicariously.
yeah, but I love Northern California though. I fell
That's
in love.
where,
Yeah,
yep.
what is that? I fell in
My
love. I
husband's
mean,
from Berkeley.
okay, well, yeah. I'm like, so me, I want to be as close to the Oregon line as possible, but not be in Oregon.
My brother is in Portland.
Yeah, yeah. That's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Beautiful place. I had a
So
great
I'm
time
sorry. Go ahead.
over there.
Tiger Lady.
Thai food was insane.
We got
But anyway, so we meet up, and I forgot. I went to hug her real quick, and she and just brought boom, and it was in my neck really quick. And she said, "See, that's how quick it happens." And I was like, "Oh, hey, where did you get that? Where did that?" I said, "You caught me off guard. Everything that was beautiful." And she's like,
right.
"Yeah, but if I press this button right here, I would have tased you."
Oh
And
shit.
I was like, "What?" Like, let me see. and,
So what did the
and
first thing
so
do? You said it.
so it was just so they have a bunch of tools, and it's called damsels in distress, and they have a bunch of things that hook on your keys, this, that, and the third. But again, she says, I took the best practices that you gave me and I applied it to utilizing these to these products, because there are best practices. Same, no different with firearms. I did a great episode with Alto Daniels in Florida with firearms. Bottom
Oh,
line, oh yeah, no, you have to watch it. Marshall
okay.
Mays, Modern Combative, season 2, Alto Daniels. You need to watch it because we talk about the use of the firearm, and he's talking about, look, how many people cut the pie in their house? How many people with your firearm in your house? You walk through your house, keeping your gun close, cutting, looking,
Right.
and practicing dry firing in your house. Why? Because what did most people buy their gun for? Home protection.
Home protection.
Self-defense, but you never practice. Look, when
Practice
you're at
it.
the range, you're calm, you get to pull your weapon out, respiratory pause,
Right.
take your time, you're not
At
under
your
duress.
leisure
Well, even
without that
yeah,
stress.
even saying things. So like somebody breaks into your home, right? You're on the second tier of your house, second floor. So your husband's downstairs in the bottom floor. Well, if you pull your weapon out, and you're more likely to end up shooting your husband. So first thing you
Right.
walk out, babe, where are you? Boom, that instant communication right away.
Right.
You have codes that you call out, and that person knows to sit still, get down, because now you're walking through the house.
These are things that
Best practices,
the
right?
average person does not
Does not even think about, right? It
think
blows your
about.
mind, but these are best practices because we have to take our violence serious. Look,
Yeah.
your attacker is going to take their violence serious.
Hell
If you
yeah. They
don't
dare
take your
to get something
self-defense
from
serious,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
you end up dead.
Your life
Like,
or your
yes,
shit.
it's for your life every time. And even then,
Right.
making that decision, there are some people who make that hard decision. Look, it was just better to lay there and take it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have anything in my arsenal. There, I just gonna lay
Right.
there and take it. And that's a shitty situation. I hope to never be in that
Has
situation.
to.
But I've
Right.
heard enough stories, and I've dealing especially with women.
Right.
um, I would also tell you, if you were going to take a self-protection, self-defense class, you want to do your research. I found that it is better to take a class that is taught by somebody, especially a woman, that is battle tested, meaning that,
Ah.
well, I mean, look, you're learning how to defend yourself against men.
You don't
Don't
want like a
get me wrong.
textbook doctor.
Well,
You want somebody that
yeah,
actually
yeah,
has
yeah. You
done
want
it.
somebody who knows. Yes, yes. There's stuff. Look, it were little things. Even so, I'm doing the episode with C. Dagu, and I've been teaching women's self defense for well over 20 years, and it never occurred to me that for us, our people, violence is different. Had never occurred that. That never. I've been teaching suburban moms and daughters and stuff like that for years, and of course, never really imagining violence. or acts of habitual violence
Right.
being as intense, like not realizing that an attacker would probably use the hand and smack you,
The
but
smack backhand
somebody intimately who loved you
will punch
will
you.
be more likely to punch you. And like that. Yes, it's like being stabbed. But stabbing somebody's a crime of passion.
Right,
It
right. A
means I'm
punch is
involved
more
with
of
you.
a
Yeah,
right.
striking you is I'm involved
Did
with you.
that
I want to hurt
rage.
you.
Right,
Yes, that
right.
rage. This is I want to control you. You know what
Correct.
I'm saying? And stuff like it's
Right.
just crazy.
It's a
Um uh uh
body language.
for
Yep.
like well yeah for lack of one of the guys I was training with back in the day, he used to say from uh pleasure to discipline and stuff like that because he was
Yes.
smacking, getting
Yep. On
sexual
your butt. Yeah. Said all
discipline
backhanded
and
in
stuff
your
like
lap.
that for backhand. I call it the
Right.
Serena Williams. So I hit you with it at
Right.
the
Right.
same time, right? Um,
You're
but
right though. You're right.
with that being said, so I had to reimagine or really break it down and really start to learn what it is to be a female being attacked. So meanwhile, and even the way that violence happens and stuff like that, that acceleration. So there are
Right.
some really great martial women out there all over the United States. They don't get enough credit where credit's due because typically we don't take female martial artists serious.
As serious. Right. You're right.
Good.
You're right.
And
You're
that's
right.
really that's more to do with the commercialization because I've met a
Yeah.
lot of women out there that couldn't bang in their lives, and I'm not talking about sexual, I'm talking about fighting,
Right.
like that.
Right.
Couldn't take a punch.
Right.
And so again, it's like somebody who has a firearm that ain't willing to shoot somebody. It's
Right.
useless.
Right. You
I
can't be
can,
made of glass if you
I
out there
I can
trying to.
teach you
Yeah.
everything under the sun, but I'm going to tell you right now, Helena, if you can't take getting smacked or hit, because you're gonna get hit,
Right.
you can't take it.
You can't be
Everything
like,
you teach is going to
ah!
be effective. Yeah,
You
it's a,
gotta.
so. So with that being said, though,
Yeah.
so somebody would say, "Well, then what do I do? I got a glass jaw. You touch me, I'm on the ground, passed out. Okay,
Well, while you
there's
on the
something.
ground, you better start kicking.
Well, yeah, well, no, there's something for you, though. No, there's something for you. There might be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now. Some people go, "Oh, Brazilian, here he goes, Brazilian man." He was going to segue into it at some point,
That's okay, cause my
but
husband and I watch UFC religiously, so I'm all in it.
well, no, I ain't covering you. We're talking about actual martial artists here.
I am
No, don't get me wrong.
Adesanya, Israel Adesanya.
All right, so there are so in MMA, you got to still keep in mind it's a sport,
It
and
is.
I enjoy what those guys and gals do. It's very entertaining, but
It's not real
no.
life. It's
Yes,
not real
I'm
life.
like, I mean, look, man, there are plenty of those guys that end up getting killed or smashed up really bad in real life because they thought what they were doing in the
In
ring,
the ring was going
yeah,
to
was
translate.
yeah, I mean, someday you might catch somebody, but you might not.
Right, right. You catch the
Um,
wrong one.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like Judo. I would say so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the ground fighting from Judo.
Yes.
If you are a judoka and you're really good at your judo, you can go into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament and hold your own all the live long day. I can't really say the same vice versa unless it's a Kosen tournament. And that's a Kosen tournament means so in judo tournaments, if you're thrown and thrown properly, the match is over. In a Kosen tournament, if you throw somebody and they hit the ground, that the fight's not over. You just get the score for throwing them, and then
Yeah,
you can
right.
keep going.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, that's more the tournament for you. If we're
Right.
talking about tournament fighting, now
Right.
going back to women's self-defense, self-protection, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Look, women, because what did we just talk about? Women are more likely to deal with violence later in life. They're more likely to be
Right.
domestic violence.
Right.
And what happens in domestic situations? Well, the person's grabbing you. The person
Right.
comes
They're
into
grabbing you.
your
Right.
safety zone, and you cover, and you initiate the grapple. There are
Right.
plenty of things that you can do effectively with the utilization through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's not going to put a lot of hurt on you and stuff
Right.
like that to effectively cover so that you're not getting struck because
Uh,
like we just talked about, you can't take a punch. So,
right.
however, like with anything though, you have to be able to put the time in and you have to be able to put the training in. If you can't do that, then like anything, it becomes useless. So
Correct.
we're
Correct.
jumping all over the place, but now I'm going to segue. I'm going to bring us back
That's okay.
damsels in distress in
Right.
products like Tiger Lady and firearms. These, well, let's hold the firearms right here. We're gonna take the firearms and we're gonna put it
Put
right
it on the
here.
shelf for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Though these products, Tiger Lady and Damsels in Distress, or any of these products, are geared for folks that don't have the time or
Okay.
cannot
Or
physically.
the
Yeah,
strength
they don't.
maybe.
They just don't have. Well, no. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo are unique by way of maximum efficiency, minimum strength and effort.
Effort
You don't have to be a strong person to do this stuff, but it does take time and practice
to
to
learn.
be able to do this stuff. So yeah. So if you can't put the time in, don't waste your time.
Right, right,
Don't
right,
bother. So you have these other products though, because they're there. Again, something
right.
is better than nothing. Look,
Correct.
learning how to doggy paddle a little bit and do the weak crawl is still
Right.
cool.
You'll
You
keep
know what I'm
afloat.
saying? Yeah,
Right. As
you're
long as
not
you
doing butterfly. You're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not,
right, right, right.
you
You're
got
not
weak
Michael Phelps
crawl, yeah.
yet, but you know.
You have something, right?
Right.
And so these products are geared around that. Now, again, like with anything, you need to still train with them, but you don't have to train as extensively. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? You don't have to be
Right.
going to the gym 2-3 times in a week. Was it 10 years on average to get a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Or even a blue belt to the level of a blue belt, you got to spend
Wow.
X amount of years of judo,
Right.
5-6 years. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And some people just don't have that time. You know,
Right. It's an investment of
dojo,
time that, yeah.
and stuff like that. So these products are there so that you'll be able to zip zap somebody, you know what I'm saying? And then of course you're really working to get away and stuff like
Yes.
that. Also, I tell folks that you need to understand the laws of your land. Look, there's beautiful things I watch all the time where you'll see a martial artist do something and then and then add the extra stuff. Now I stomp on his
Right.
head 3 times, and I'm like, yeah, now you just went to jail.
Now you just,
Yeah, you were good.
manslaughter.
Yeah, yeah, right, yeah, yeah. It was like that. I mean, and I know some people out there are going to get really pissy with me, but it's like the whole Derek Chauvin thing. What he did with Floyd was correct, proper police procedure for the first 3 minutes. After that, he was committing a crime. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Well, technically, in Massachusetts, he should have dropped him, put him in the prone position, but that's beside.
Right, 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 right.
But
He followed it and then put his own
oh yeah, but that's
spin.
just it. But
And when you
and
put
there's
your
another
own
one of those folks. Yeah,
spin,
yeah. But
that's the
I use
problematic
that
part.
as a really good example to show how here's somebody who he'd have been fine all the way up to a point, and then he started committing the crime.
Right.
Like that. I think he was a criminal the whole time, but that's my own personal belief. I'm just
Me too.
going
Me
blow
too.
by blow what happened. The guy was cuffed. He's down. You should have made him in control, put him on his side, da da da, and did
Period.
all that.
Right,
But
right,
in this particular case, boom, you had two guys securing the legs because the guy was
right,
a big man,
right.
one guy on top, one guy controlling the scene. 3 minutes, okay. He was calm, he was secure, boom. And you go from being
But like you
proper
said, it's
procedure to
people,
being
right,
extra and now
taking
committing
the
the crime.
extra.
Yeah. So again, it's no different with yourself. I use that as because it's a really good, relevant
Yes, yes,
example
I
of
understand.
going from
How
one
it
extreme
escalates
to
that
another.
fast.
I went from doing my job to now I'm a criminal.
Right.
I went from defending myself to now I stabbed him 3 times and stuff
Right.
like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and even with that, being ultra aware, I've had for when I was working in construction, this is before I retired, I
Right.
used to have my utility knife on me all the time. Most people have them.
My husband has one in the car.
Well, yeah,
He has one in his
you have
vehicle.
one. It's normally clipped on to you, this, that, and a third. And I always tell this to folks all the time, especially my friends that love grappling. Look, you take a guy down, you got him in this beautiful arm bar. He pulls his knife out, stabs you 4 times. Yeah, you broke his arm, but you bled out and you died. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? You need to be aware.
If
But
you're going to disarm them all the way around, not just
well, most people carry that stuff. And again, it goes back to being aware.
aware.
Being aware, being aware, being aware.
So
So
would you suggest for the top 3 things that you might, because we didn't get to guns for women yet, but so you would say all women should at least take a self-defense class.
yes.
Just
All women should have already taken some kind of self-protection, self-defense class. I think every person I would also tell you
Even better.
to do your research.
Because these dudes are out here getting run up on too.
Well, listen, that's what I said. It's that everybody should have a
Yeah.
little something in their wheelhouse, you know. And in the culture that most martial arts schools cultivate, look, I can't say this enough. A martial arts school being put in a location, especially if they cater to the folks in that location,
Right.
everybody, it brings a neighborhood up, never down, brings it up because the kids are learning a better way to being
It's a
better people.
deterrent.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Also.
well, just kids are learning to be better people and stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And the adults who are bringing their kids there learn that, you know, look, man, maybe this isn't the way. So a martial arts in your
They're
network,
training their mind,
well, yeah, it's part
which
of that.
translates to their
Commercial
environment.
schools, I got issues with commercial schools, where I get it, where somebody wants to make their money, they're trying to make their bread, this, that, and the third. But the problem I
Right.
have with a commercial school is they necessarily don't care what
It's
kind of
cookie
curriculum
cutter.
they're turning out. Yeah, it's cookie cutter.
Yeah.
You know, and they're there to take your money. I tell this to folks all the time: do your research. The great
Uh,
tool about the internet is it's there, and you can really vet. You can look out, guys. However, keep in mind that the charlatans are aware of this. So they put up fake bios, make their little fake histories.
they
I
make
mean,
it look so glorious, you
even
know.
doing our show, Modern Combatives, a lot of the vetting process is rigorous because we don't know. Like, again, I've been
Right.
martial arts since age 5.5, which is 40 something years, you know, that I've been practicing. Actually, 40, it'll be 41 years.
I didn't
This
know you
month
were that old. Old
and stuff like
ass.
that. Yeah, yeah, man. The struggle's real. But even with that, I mean, I didn't study every art. I know my
Right.
art. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
I know how to tell the difference between somebody who's a real Okinawan practitioner,
Right.
and somebody who learns some little stuff here, there, you know,
Right.
whatever. I understand fighting is fighting is fighting. I can see it. I've been doing it long enough, but the average person doesn't have all of that. All you
Correct.
have is the internet. So you look up,
Correct.
and I got a bio that says I was the Grand Poobah twice removed on its sister side. Yeah, and whoa, whoa, I'm gonna train with Sensei.
All of that hoorah that goes with,
Yeah,
yeah,
you know, and you walk in and you find out later on that, man, I faked everything.
little
You know,
string bean.
okay,
Yeah, not
really
on the
good
internet.
example of that. Bloodsport. Everybody loved that movie. Bloodsport, right?
Kumite.
Back in the day,
Kumite. Kumite.
and then you find out the whole thing was based on a lie. Frank Dukes never did it. It never happened. Right, but it was passed
But it
on as
was
truth.
entertaining.
Yeah, but everybody passed it on as truth. Everybody thought it was truth.
Right. Right.
And you find out later on because of the internet, this, that, and the third, that it was a lie.
Like
It never
urban
happened.
legend type. Right.
Yeah, the guy, in fact, they got a lot of platforms out there. And I would tell you this because there are a lot of platforms out there that are doing this. We
Right.
don't do it in the Modern Combatives. I'll get to why in a second. But they got Bullshido. They got Mac Dojo Life or Mick Dojo Life out there on YouTube, but Bushido. I'm plugging everybody's stuff at this point. But these guys, they literally they putting out they're telling you who the charlatans are and where to
I love
find
it.
them
I
and stuff
love it.
like that, you know, and the difference between the satire stuff where we're being like a Master Ken because his show is just hilarious.
Right.
Ameridote. But it's satire and he's
Right.
poking fun at all the
Right.
fake people out there,
At
you
all
know.
the
And so,
fake,
yeah, all the trash,
fake
all the
folks.
garbage.
Right.
And it would help if people do your research, find out that guy's fake, find out that guy's phony, and understand what you're looking for when you're walking into that dojo. If you
Right.
want to just learn how to fight, how to bang, okay, great. Then that guy who's just a really good street fighter, then you might as well train with him because he's
Right.
a really
Right.
good street fighter,
Because
right?
you're going to be attacked on the street.
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Streetwise. Right. Right.
Yeah,
So
I
we
mean,
have self-defense. Definitely everybody needs to embark on
100%.
some type of a self-defense class. So then we have, do you suggest carrying something like mace, like a whisk,
Yeah,
like
well,
you
okay,
know, pepper
so I
spray,
say pepper spray,
or
never mace. Mace has cross contamination. The first time you you spray mace in an area and catch yourself in that blast will be the
ooh,
last time you do it. Um, it might be the last time because you died, but it'll be the last time you do it.
oh
Pepper
shit. So
spray
pepper
works.
spray.
Yeah, pepper spray works the
Pepper
best.
spray.
Take a class, learn how to use it properly. All right, just I'm
Oh,
like, oh yeah,
so
because again,
I
the cross
remember back in the day that that stuff was illegal. Is it not
Peppers inert you can get. And I think
inert?
yeah,
It's called
inert.
inert.
Yeah, inert pepper spray.
Okay.
And you can get it. Understand that there's certain folks in the African American community, because of our diet, some people it doesn't affect at all. Other
Oh,
people it affects. Oh yeah. So in the academy you have to be sprayed. So I get sprayed, and I thought I was in that percentile until the wind blew. Then all of a sudden I couldn't see. My nose was running, and I was all over the place.
wait a minute. So you mean there's actually a self-defense product out there that people are immune to?
Well, it has to do with, it's a small percentage of the African American community, that it just, because of our diet, hot food and stuff like that. It just that's doesn't seem to affect. Yeah. Yeah, it's just,
Stop.
it's
Are you
weird, right?
telling me we have eaten too much
Hot food, yeah,
hot
yeah, hot food
sauce
over the years.
and
And
spicy
then it's immune to certain
pies?
things. Yeah, so certain peppers don't, that certain it doesn't
Oh
work.
my God.
However, but you still got tasers, you got so again, all these things I tell folks, you should be taking a safety course. You should know how to use this equipment effectively. And stuff like, because again, what's the worst thing in the world is to get your taser taken away from you and then used on you.
Oh my God.
And
Yes. Yes. So,
typically what's really cool when you take these classes is that you get tased in the class, so that you
that's
understand
really
what you're doing
cool.
to somebody else. Yeah. So like, yeah, so like you're like, you're on the ground just, oh, why? You know. And you'll be surprised too. You get hit and you're like, oh my, you're on the ground, like I can't move. What the hell? But I was at a class where one of the guys got hit. He was able to just move through it. Like they hit him twice, and it was just like he was like it affected him, but not as affected.
Not
But
it staggered him, but it didn't
yeah,
stop
but
him.
you also learn with all of that stuff what works, where it works, how it works. Look,
That's what, okay.
guy's got a thick ass jacket on, and you tase his jacket.
That's you
It's
tasing
not
the
gonna work.
cowhide,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
leather. You're
yeah.
not,
You ain't hitting him.
yeah.
So you get a better understanding of
You
that.
want to get it on
Um,
the body, the
know the
skin.
laws of your land. Okay, that's a
Mhm.
huge thing. Understand the laws of your land.
Right.
Understand that when what is considered self-defense, what is considered assault and battery with a deadly weapon. You know the difference. I get it. Look, it's one thing you go into a situation where you're trying to defend yourself. It's another thing now you're doing time for defending yourself.
And I hate that because it's like that whole um it's like that to me. It's like Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. Like you're the fucking aggressor, and then all of a sudden, I'm the victim. I'm the victim, but I was the aggressor in the beginning.
Well,
So
because again, it's understanding the law. Well, in his particular case, so Florida had a weird law
that stand your
that part
ground.
didn't. Well, yeah, it's a stand your ground. What's a stand your ground law that clearly says, look, if I feel as though my life was in jeopardy, it went from a beating in, and I knew
But
when
if
when
you're
I was
the
listening to that case.
aggressor, but that's what I'm saying.
Well,
So
but again, this is where it goes back to, like, okay, so you and I get into a street fight, right? Like,
right,
just imagine you and I get into a street fight.
right.
Bam! I start the fight with you, but in the midst of the fight, boom, you end up on top of me, and now you start slamming my head against the pavement, right? At that point, I pull out my knife. I stab you 3 times. A jury might go, yeah, they were in a fight, but when she started slamming his head against the ground,
It
she was trying
became
to take his life.
dire. It
Yeah,
became
so
dire.
now he was justified in stabbing her 3 times. He stuck her 3 times. You understand what I'm saying? And that was the argument they made with the whole. Look, whether we disagree with it or not, that was the argument they made in the Trayvon case, and that's why Zimmerman got away with murder the first time.
Literally,
Yeah,
right.
well, yeah, because at that point he was able to reasonably say, "Look, my life was in danger."
I was
Again,
scared,
you
even
gotta know
though
the laws of
right.
your land. You gotta know. You
That's
gotta
like
know.
that's like you putting glass underneath your window for the robber that comes in and he cut his feet and sue you. But
Yeah,
you was in my
you
house
walk
trying
into
to
my
rob
house.
me.
Yeah,
Like
but yeah, so yeah, but look, we had a cop, not a cop, but a person in Chicopee, Mass, go to jail because and here's what actually happened. So somebody he thought somebody was breaking into his house, and it was somebody trying to break in, but the kid was at the wrong house. He was supposed to be at his buddy's house, and he was trying to slip in through the window at his buddy's house. He was drunk, so the person shot, of course, and kills the kid, and he goes to jail. He's in jail right now. And the thing they argue was, well, castle doctrine. Yes, you can protect your house, your dwelling. The person was breaking in, but because of the way the person was. He was outside. But again, it goes back to
But
understanding.
how do you see all of that when that's happening? You don't see that,
Yes, it is quite the conundrum.
you
So
know?
how
And
do
then,
you ever, yeah, so how do we fix that one, right? Well, I would tell you make sure
wow.
the person's in your
So,
household.
okay, we got to know the laws in
Yeah.
your state as far as your pepper spray and any of your tasers because it may be considered.
Now, I will tell you a firearm works best for arguing self-defense.
Okay.
A knife.
So would you
Okay, so because we're about to get into this real quick. So a firearm, when you're making the reasonable argument
right,
about for self-defense, a
right,
firearm, because a firearm can be used as a deterrent as well. I
correct.
draw my weapon, I pull it out, get back up, and I'm yelling at you to back away from me. I take the moral high ground. People hear me telling you, I'm warning you, I'm giving you commands. Hey, get away, get back, hey man,
That
get,
that
don't you do it, and then
right.
we'll pop to you. And I'm
That's
shooting
different.
center
Right,
mass. So
right.
center
I
mass,
can see that.
whatever the center mass or whatever the part of you is exposed. If it's your side, it's your side. If it's directly in your chest, it's directly in your chest. If it's your leg, it's your leg. But whatever is the most exposed part of your body,
Right.
and you can make a reasonable argument. You get a jury of your peers. Yeah, you pull the gun, center mass. Okay, a knife is detrimental to that defense because it is an in close personal weapon.
You have to get close enough
I'm
to the
close enough to
person.
you. Yes, it is very intimate.
So
All right.
unless you're struggling,
So it is really hard to make
yeah,
a solid knife defense case like it was self-defense with a knife. It is really hard.
right,
Like almost next to impossible, and you're probably going to go to jail.
right,
All right. So,
right.
so just keep that in mind. I always tell it to folks all the time that favor knives. I do, and like that. I favor knives all the live long day.
Well,
Um,
I would say, well, what if it's the perpetrator's knife that's coming after you?
Look, you take it. Well, so here's the thing. I take it away. I disarm you. Well, what did I just do? I disarmed you. That at that point you are no longer armed, which brings the level of
But you're
threat down.
still,
Oh, well, we're still engaged, but it took the level of threat down. All right.
but
So,
as a small woman,
or as a small
what am
woman,
I gonna do? Toss the knife away into the grass? Nah, nigga, I'm gonna go like this and let you
oh
fall
yeah, well,
on
no,
me.
you know what? But again, all I'm saying to you is that it gets harder to argue
Right. No,
in
right,
court.
right,
All
right.
right, yeah, you disarmed him, you took his knife away from him, right? Then a reasonable people, you got to think about this as a defense. I mean, a prosecuting attorney. She was able to take his knife away, folks. She took his knife
So she's
away.
strong enough to
Yes,
defend
you can
herself
take
then.
her knife. You can take her knife. We got to remember too, we're African American as well. So they already figured we were born. We came out the womb striking and kicking.
Ooh, with
As far as they're
whoa, yeah.
concerned, you know what I'm saying? Like we are monsters. We're the most. I said I'm the most feared man in America based on the color of my skin. You know what I'm saying? I'm the most feared man in the
You
world based on
big,
the color of
you
my skin.
black,
Yeah,
you
I'm like, so
educated, you scary.
but think
Right.
about the way they talk about us when these kinds of things happen. It would just be just that. Well, look, she disarmed him. She had the skills to disarm him. And so and then she took the knife and stabbed him.
Like I'm some type of super ninja. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. You really were too.
no.
They had you with the black mask on. You had the knife. You were moving really fast.
Right,
Like they showed images of you jumping from trees back in the day. I don't
right. So
know.
y'all, we're saying for self-defense purposes, knives are
So
probably no bueno
yeah,
if
just
you
keep
have
that
to
in
carry a
mind. Yeah.
weapon.
Because
And
it's one of those things, and the reason why most folks favor a knife is because it is small.
small.
It's on your person. It can be carried concealed. You don't need a permit for it. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And it's
But
there.
it
But
is the most
it is the most. It's an intimate
controversial
weapon. Yeah, yeah. It's a
for
very intimate
self-defense.
weapon, and it's really hard to argue self-defense. All right, with a knife, it just really.
Right.
Again, when I pull my knife, the guy didn't get to see it. Let's see what
Right.
done. I pulled my
Right.
gun out. You saw it. You saw my
And
gun
now it's a
in front
fair
of you.
warning.
Yeah, I
That's
pull my
fair
knife
warning.
out. No one is getting into a knife fight unless this is you see this shit on TV. But think about
TV.
real life. Guy pulls a knife out. He's moving it around. A lot of times you don't even know what's happening until you've been stuck twice.
Right, right,
There's plenty of look, and it don't
That's
even have to
made
be
for
my word
TV.
for it.
That's not real.
plenty of stuff on YouTube and on the internet that shows people dying with knife fights all the time. There's a really good one recently that came up where the guy's brandishing a knife, he's swinging it, and I don't know why the guy walked up in front of him. I mean, it looked like he was trying to deter the fight from
And
happening.
got
Yeah, and well,
sliced.
the guy reached in and stuck him right in his neck. Boom, got him. He's bleeding out.
Oh my God.
And you know, and you see, and again, it goes back to one, take knife fighting seriously, and two, there it is. You know, it didn't like literally. I don't know why that guy ran up and maybe he knew the kid, maybe he didn't think the kid was going to get stuck. My daughter's mother, her brother was murdered
Right.
that way, and when he was stabbed, he thought he was punched twice. Thought he got punched in the stomach twice. And it was a hunting knife that did it. And so the serrated edge did more damage coming
Like
out.
a Bowie knife.
Yeah. So he boom, boom, boom. And I mean, most of us, you know, we're training either with the karambit knife, which is the knife that has the hook.
Sleek with the hook. Yeah.
Yeah. Or some of us we're typically training with the utility knife, which is this small and stuff like that. And, and excuse me. And again, we just have to keep in mind that those weapons, the way we use them, the way we train with them, you're looking to take a life.
So
you know?
really, it sounds to me, honestly, truly, like in hearing everything that you've said and taking it all in, if I were to take away from our conversation today, Israel, I'm thinking as a woman, there are certain things that I really need to be vigilant. Well, really, and everybody needs to be vigilant about, especially in these times. But I'm just saying, speaking as me, I took away, which I think others really should too, is one, be very vigilant about your surroundings.
Yes.
If you're parking and you're going to be somewhere late, don't just pick the closest parking spot that might not be the best lit. You want to be maybe in the best lit area, so your car is lit. I think if you're in a lit area, people are less likely to try to break into your car. If you're going to your car like I do, I said I have my little keys, so if they roll up on me, I can. But you said you've got a
So
great
there's
friend,
damsels in distress.
yes,
And,
out in California that has some wonderful
so
products.
you can find them online. And I would say they got plenty of products that hook onto your keys and stuff like that. So
Right.
you know, and then again, learn how to use those products. You know,
Learn how to use them.
learn how to use
Take
the
a
product.
self-defense class, not commercial. Do your research. Do
Do
your research.
your research. It will save you time. It will save you money. I'm like,
Oh,
do your
yes. And
research.
check out, when
Uh-huh.
I research, I say even check out their reviews. And if you can,
Well,
try to
I'm
hit some of those
really
people up and see if
Well,
they're
yeah, I
real.
want to say I'm really weird about reviews because reviews are like word of mouth, right? So again, the reason how these charlatans get by is you get 20 or 30 housewife moms or whatever, or you know, oh yeah, you know, Sensei Smith is amazing and the way he
Right.
handles kids. And
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
remember, it's still business. Business is business. You know, you got good reviews, right? Doesn't necessarily
Should
mean you
you
know
go
what
meet
you're
them
doing.
first? Should you go
Well,
meet them first before you sign
I would
up?
say no. I would say you research it. Anything that's worth its salt will have. So research it. Know what you're going there for first and foremost. I'm gonna tell you that here's a secret though, and I try to keep it low key, but I'm gonna give it to you right now. I'm gonna give it to everybody out there. If you aren't getting hit in that class, like you ain't feeling it, you ain't getting touched, you might want to walk away from it.
Because
That's
you
all.
got to know what it feels like to be in a real situation. Because
Yeah, I'm like,
the thief or the bad guy isn't just gonna. He's not
well,
gonna tap.
it's one of the worst things I've seen to date, right? So you have somebody, so they use a throw called Osotogari, right? So they come up to the right rear corner and they sweep your leg out from under and drop you down, right? So in the middle of that, you get the combination. The guy strikes at you, or you strike, boom, and you block the guy, you hit the guy, and then you punch him in the stomach where it makes him bowl over this way, and then you try to throw him backwards. Well, anybody who's ever been punched where you went where your body was going forward, it's really it's hard as all heck to
Hard to
find you
fall
back.
backwards.
You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And so you find all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
And again, if you
Little
ain't
things
being
that
touched in your class, if there
right.
ain't, and I'm not saying getting blasted, right? I'm not telling
No. But there's got to be
you getting beat
contact.
up, but there's
Yeah.
got to be contact. Look, when
Right.
it comes
Right.
to your self-defense, self-protection. If there is no contact happening, if y'all barely touching each other, being told, well, don't really hit them,
that slap boxing type thing. You can't
walk away
really.
from it. Walk away from it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be. It's not
Okay.
effective. It's not a best practice. It's just
Because you know what's going to happen is when that bad guy rolls up on you and he flips you or he hits you, you're going to be so stunned because you've never been hit before. You're not going to know. Your brain's going to freeze and you're not going to know.
And you fight
how to react.
Keep this in mind. There are folks like myself that have been doing this for our lives, and even then, even with us, there's certain times where your brain fart. This doesn't work 110%.
Doesn't react.
Yeah. I'm like, look, there are things that happen. All right. And I get it where somebody will point out an outlier, and that's what I call them, an outlier. That one or two people they were able to do it just fine.
Right.
But we're talking about everybody in the monolith.
But the masses.
Yeah. I'm talking about the majority. You might not be that one. Not everybody's Neo. I'm like, not everybody's Neo. That's what they say in the Matrix. Look, I see them coming. I run.
Amen. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, so it's one of them things. Not everybody's
Neo. So would you say that honestly is the best defense is to get, if you see it coming, get the hell out of Dodge and not.
You make a decision. Like if you're backed into a corner, engage. You have to.
Right.
If you have other options to bounce. Look.
Then
here's the thing. Everything is temporary. It is. I remember running a nightclub and running security, and the guy and I used to tell the guys, watch Roadhouse, man. I mean, get it. It's a movie. But what he said was 100% though. Like when he's like, what if they call my mom a whore? He's like, yo, is she though?
Well,
so then it's temporary. Yeah, don't worry about it. Move on. That guy's
sticks and stones.
You at the mall, whatever. Somebody come up to you, they take your cart or whatever. Boom, boom. You can choose to engage, or you can say that person's temporary and move on. Right. Don't let it affect you. And I get it. We get caught up in the what they call them, the nigga them hits us.
Oh,
the boondocks to do stuff.
Yeah, you gotta puff that chest up.
Yeah, and you're like, yo, you be ready to go all in. Again, you get the sneaker cleaner and it's temporary.
But you can't do that these days. People are over here honking horns and they getting out the car and going and punching the people and shooting them.
No, that's the point. So being aware that violence exists, being aware that those people are out there. Now think about that though. That exactly, people are getting out their car, going to your car, and putting two in you. Again, so your guy's honking his horn. You look, you keep an eye on him. You keep an eye, make sure there's room. Just
as soon as he starts getting out his car, you need to get home.
You don't get out your car and be like, "What, dude?
Excuse me, sir. What seems to be the problem?"
You might end up dead. So, I mean, you think about that. I mean, and again, if we think about these things and we apply these best practices in our lives, you're less likely to end up in a bad situation. And again, I'm gonna say it. If you don't know what to do, there's a show. It's called Modern Combatives. I'm one of the hosts of that show. Watch the show. We value different. There are different martial artists from all over.
Where can they find your show, Israel? You're on YouTube.
You can find the Marshall Mays. Modern Combatives. You can find it on YouTube. We're in our second season now. We're actually winding down. The first season was the bomb. We had such a great time. And if somebody gives me one more email about the whole 52 blocks thing, I'm gonna have to come out and see someone. Like Professor Mo was amazing and that whole thing, but there was so much controversy about the 52 blocks. Culture of the area, that being able to fight on a subway, you know what I'm saying? Because again, we ain't thinking about engaging on a subway or a subway platform.
Ooh, but there's a lot of that going on.
And it's also dealing with more than one attacker. That's another thing too. Like you're dealing with more people coming at, not just a one-on-one skirmish.
Yes, because these folks are are trifling these days. They not brave enough to come get you by
Well, they
their
know.
lonesome.
I
They
mean,
got to
but
come with friends.
that's being jumped. I mean, that again, that's what I'm
That
saying. That really hasn't changed.
that's
Like, yeah,
being
I
jumped.
remember being jumped back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like 4 or 5. Because more
Ooh,
people knew I knew martial arts, so they were like, "Yo, you wasn't coming at me one." Even when I say, even as a big guy,
right,
my perception of threat is different than yours. You're a small
right,
person.
right,
So
right.
people come look when a guy's trying to pick a fight with me. In
It's
my mind, he has a gun, he has a knife, and he has
you
friends.
got a purpose.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a big dude.
yeah,
Why are you trying to pick
yeah,
a fight with a
yeah,
big
yeah,
dude?
yeah, 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 yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So yeah, you
Right.
got friends. You got something. There's something
You
we
got backup on
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
You're not coming alone.
you trying to have me push daisies. I'm like, yeah, I ain't living that life. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
right,
no life
right.
at
He's got
all.
an ulterior motive. He's got backup everything when he comes after you. When he comes after me, it's just me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, okay, so I would say again, y'all vigilant when it comes to your personal safety. Check out Marshall Mays on YouTube
And
with
the podcast, you can find it
Sensei
anywhere.
Lopez,
Yeah.
Israel Lopez. He can go ahead and share so much, but I want them to be able to, if they want to get you, what is your
So yeah,
Instagram?
so
What
like
is
so
your
you can find
website? Where can they get you if they want to, pick your brain, or if they're local to Massachusetts, up in
so
your area?
you can find us the Marshall Maze, themarshallmaze.com. That's
Okay. Yep.
martialmaze.com.
Okay.
Gives you both links, and then you can link into us personally. Myself and Bracula Shidoshi, who couldn't be here today. Um, and we're always welcome to give you questions, or actually give. One of the great things about our platform is that we try not to talk smack about uh, some of the bad dojos that are out there. What we do is we like to educate and send you, or so that you know that you can make that decision yourself,
On
whether or not
your own.
whether or not
You
you're in a
got
bad
it.
dojo or not. We give you the information so you know how to navigate
Make
the
that
maze
decision.
and stuff like that.
I
That's
love
what
it.
this is all about. That maze.
Navigating.
Yeah,
Yep.
being able to navigate, to know where to go, where to train. So like I said, you can find us on the podcast. The podcast is what started it all. Then so yeah, so you can find us on the Marshall Maze podcast. You can find that anywhere podcasts
And
are.
again, how long have you been doing this, Israel? How
Um,
long have you been Hung Kung Fooey?
oh, so I would say about 40. It would be 41 years this August. So
See, he knows what he's talking about, y'all. He's
well,
been
all
there.
over. I've been doing
He's
yeah, I've been
done
doing it for a
that.
long time now. So
I remember you, even back in your teens. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yoked up, doing your thing. I remember you had a dojo before,
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
So the I ended up taking over. So my first school was located at Westover Air Force Base. The base had to move to be active, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I started teaching there as a civilian contractor. But before that, we've had locations. I didn't end up taking over for Ken Marecki Sensei until 2000 of the I want to say 0405 is when I actually took over to start teaching more full. Well, actually, I just came into it. I had really no intention of ever teaching. I like fighting. I like
And
getting in fight.
what is your specific style? What is it that
So what I'm most known for is judo, but my highest rank is in Okinawate. I hold a sixth. I also hold a fourth degree in Taiho Jitsu, which is a policing art. But I am most known for judo, and I have what is called a Nidan. I'm a second degree black belt in judo. Judo is where I based this. I love the culture of judo.
right,
I like the so judo was just more than martial art per se. It's about just being better people, just a better way of life.
right. It's a
Um,
whole encompassing
yeah, and I would tell folks watch my episode. My episode was the last episode of season one, and it's just really that episode was really
on the
done
Marshall
more for
Maze.
yeah, it was
Okay.
for the YouTube. That was done because we had been asked who are we? Were we real martial artists?
So kind of get to
Yeah,
know
so it was
Sensei.
really I found it really difficult to talk about myself, but
Really?
it was necessary, needed to be done, I guess, and it gives you a little more insight into my mind and to my best practices and to how I approach the study of
How you
martial arts,
operate.
stuff like that. Yeah. And it also, the episode before that was Barakulat Shidoshi. I love saying the ninja, but he's killing me right now. He's so mad at me if I say that, but he's
I
Budo
love it. I
Taijutsu.
love it.
Yeah, because America has ruined what a shinobi is, but yeah, he's Budo Taijutsu, and yeah, man, we're frickin' frack, so we've always complimented
I
each other.
love it. Is he your partner? Your partner in
Yeah,
crime?
yes, he is. Yeah. Well,
The
we're
martial.
related. That's BJ, Barack. Yeah. So.
Oh,
So yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah, like even when we were kids, we always be training. So it was
I
great to.
love it.
I it was bittersweet when he moved back from New York
Right.
to Springfield, but I have more access to him. In fact, after I get off this with you, I'm gonna be heading to Western Mass because I live in Worcester. And I,
You live where now?
I live in Worcester,
Oh,
so
you're in Worcester.
yeah.
Okay.
See, you know where Worcester is.
I
Most
know
people don't.
Worcester.
Yeah.
I only know Worcester because of Duran Duran.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah, so Worcester, yeah. So I live in the middle of the state.
It's only one block.
Everybody's like, "How close is that to Boston?" I'm like, "It's the middle of the state."
Nowhere. All right, y'all. This is Lena and this is Israel, and we are signing off. And y'all make sure you hit up Sensei at marshallmays.com and get your judo on.
All
All right, y'all. Until next time.
Later.